Good morning, viewers. I'm so happy to bringing this fourth episode on our series of Know Your Coach podcast. I'm so blessed to see your likes, your comments, your suggestions in how can we make this podcast more enriching in terms of experience of your learning. And I learn as much as you learn from the different personalities that we bring into these episodes. As we know, this month of March is dedicated towards the empowerment of the woman. You'll see a lot of corporates, the whole world talks about do multiple events and activities towards women empowerment, making their day special, having special organized events, and all of that. Let's try to understand in this episode, what does the woman empowerment really mean to a woman as individually or in the role that she plays as a whole? And what does it mean to us as a community? How can we integrate this synergy together in bringing this woman empowerment to make both the genders work together equally and bring out the best into the society? And to know that, we have a special guest with us today, Soha Chahine. Soha Chahine is a multi-award winning coach. She's an author, she's a speaker, and an expert in emotional intelligence and resilience. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss today for the next half an hour. Over to you, Soha, and let us know more about yourself.
Thank you so much, Abhijit, for hosting me. This is to start with, and thank you also for the opportunity to share my journey and my insights with your audience. I'm a corporate trainer and coach and the founder of Forward Training and Consulting. My journey began in the bustling world of human resources management with global Fortune 500 companies. And that experience was like planting seeds in a fertile soil. So it gave me a deep understanding of what truly helps people and organizations grow. So today, as a coach and as a trainer, I get to water those seeds every day. My passion is all about connecting with people, whether it's one-on-one or with a whole team. And I focus mainly on what I believe are the core skills: emotional intelligence, leadership, and resilience, for not just surviving, but thriving in our ever evolving work environment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to know about you, Soha. Though I knew a little bit on the LinkedIn, what I see you posting a lot of stuff you do in these areas of emotional intelligence, resilience, and leadership. But I think this is a great platform for me to explore more into detail so that our audience can really take away great insights from here today. So you spoke about three key skills. That's emotional intelligence, resilience, and leadership.
Yes.
And this sounds very interesting for me. In my corporate experience of last 18 years, trust me, we have gone through multiple ups and downs, especially after COVID. And these skills are spoken more than anything else because that's actually keeps you at job and keeps you thrive and strive into the role that you do. How do you talk about the emotional intelligence? How does it uniquely empowers the woman in their leadership role?
See, emotional intelligence, or EI, as we call it more often, it's like the secret superpower, especially for women in leadership. See, emotional intelligence is not about understanding your own emotions, but it's about navigating relationship, communication, and decision making with empathy and clarity. And for women leaders, this can be an incredible weapon. I would say it can be even incredibly empowering for them.
So that's great insight. How can you make me understand with an example maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. I can share a story with you. So basically, I worked with a leader. Let's call her Sarah. Okay, she was basically leading a team in a technology company, a field often dominated by men, right? So Sarah basically was technically brilliant. She was amazing, basically, but often she felt, I would say, overlooked in meetings, and her ideas were not getting the traction that they deserved. So we focused on improving her or boosting her emotional intelligence, particularly in understanding the emotional undercurrents in her team and learning to communicate her ideas more assertively. So it wasn't about changing who she was, but about amplifying her voice in a way that resonated with her team and even the organization. So the transformation was extremely amazing. So Sarah started to approach meetings differently. She became adept at reading the room, knowing when to push an idea and even when to step back. So she learned also the art of persuasive communication. And this is very important in emotional intelligence, where it helped her to appeal to her colleagues, not just with logic, but even with empathy and even understanding their viewpoints. Her idea started getting noticed. Luckily, she was no longer the silent participant, but also became a driving force in her team. So it wasn't just good for Sarah, but it also improved the whole team dynamic, where they started to communicate more openly, and it fostered a more collaborative environment. So this is the power of emotional intelligence. It's not just about climbing the corporate ladder, to put it this way. It's about further, it's about creating a workspace where everyone feels heard and valued. And for women in leadership, mastering this can really change the game, breaking down the barriers and opening up a new avenues, I would say, for influence and even for impact at the same time.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. And that reminds me, I always perceive women to be more sensitive naturally. Yeah. So they are very caring.
They are naturally sensitive. There are a lot of studies where they confirm that the women they tend to be more empathetic, or they have higher emotional intelligence than the man, because of the biological nature of the woman.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's where I see that as an advantage for a woman to I would say transfer into this mode of emotional intelligence and be more powerful or more I would say impactful at the workspace. Because when we talk
Yes.
about emotions, there are multiple things that goes behind. And especially being more sensitive, you are tend to get more judgmental, because anybody says something, you immediately hits your emotions, it triggers your emotions. And having an intelligence to have right awareness what's happening inside of you and how can you respond to it rather than reacting to it. And that's where you said, when you see the transformation in a woman, the way she puts across emotional intelligence on the ground floor, not just herself but the people around them, more collaboration, more teamwork, less of conflicts and more of understanding. I think when you have this kind of surrounding around you, the output is definitely better. So I definitely
Absolutely, absolutely. See, emotional intelligence for me is really a superpower. It allows not only women, it allows any leader to understand their emotions and manage their emotions and those of others, which is very important, leading them to a better communication, teamwork, and even conflict resolution.
absolutely, absolutely. So I would like to move on to the next skill. You spoke about resilience, and
Right.
I witnessed it myself. I witnessed the leaders whom I'm working with, also very resistant to be resilient. I would say that way. I think for somehow, especially after the COVID, I think
Yes.
the nature brought that capability within ourselves naturally. I think the things worked out in a way that it was alarm for all the leaders how to be resilient in that kind of very volatile situations. How can we stay calm and focused, and then help our team to be more focused as well? That's what affects the productivity of a team at the end of the day. So how can women cultivate this technique or adapt this skill, and how can they be successful in their areas?
A good question. See, I'll tell you, resilience in the workplace, generally speaking, specifically or especially for women, is like navigating a complex maze. Let's put it this way, right? So, it's not just about bouncing back, like everybody says. It's about bouncing back from setbacks, but it's also about tackling those deep-rooted challenges like gender biases and even stereotypes head on. So how can women cultivate this kind of resilience? First and foremost, it's all about self-awareness and self-care. It sounds very simple, right? But understanding your own strengths and your own weaknesses and taking care of your mental and emotional well-being is crucial. So it's like putting your own oxygen mask first before helping everybody else. All right, around you, I mean. this is from one aspect, but another key aspect is building a support network at the same time. So this is not about having people to vent to, although that's very important too, but it's also about surrounding yourself with mentors, allies, and peers who not only understand your struggle but also champion your success.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Abhijit, there is a huge power in shared experience and even collective wisdom.
True, very true. And I can relate to the situation when you talked about the gender bias. Do you really think this really exists at the grassroots level, or you also always see that the moment the women start stepping up the ladder, where does it exist more, and where do they have to struggle, being more resilient at what level?
At what level, I cannot really tell. It starts in my from my perspective, it might be at any level. I would say I don't like to talk too much about ranking, but I would say that here the organization really can play a huge part in this to avoid this kind of I would say biases. They
Exactly.
can
That was my next
yeah.
question, actually. What, in your experience, because you work with multiple corporates and you must have come across a lot of situations where you must have advised the organizations what they can do, what are the best practices. So, what can actually organizations do in order to maybe prevent or foster more of empowerment into the women community?
Organization, they need to simply move beyond just policies on paper to creating an environment that really supports gender diversity and inclusivity. This means having more of an open conversation about gender biases, providing maybe platforms for women to voice their own concerns, and even actively promoting women into a more leadership role. So it's more about creating a culture where resilience is not just about individual struggle, but also a collective commitment.
Absolutely. And this is a very important point you said. I mean, either men or women, they're not complete by themselves. They are complete with each other. That's how I look at it.
They complete each other for sure. Yeah, definitely they complete each other 100%. But yeah, to
For
be
my
very
wife,
honest,
yeah,
companies, they have a huge role. They
yeah,
have a huge role to
bringing
make
that
a
forward.
huge shift. Yeah, to make a huge shift, and so we can break that barrier between I'm a man and you are a woman.
Absolutely.
This is just yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, Soha, for sharing. This is very important and crucial. And to add to that, my perspective would be an organization plays a very key role in not just bringing the equality in terms of, okay, man equal to woman, but I think what women and men both differently bring on one table. For me, I see women to be more creative than men. They are more detail oriented. They have a very detailed eye for if you want to work on a project wherein you want to identify what's not so right and how can we make it more sharp, more perfect. So it helps into more of perfectionism. Men goes all over the place, but women helps to bring back onto the focus. And I think having these skill sets, men comes with their own set of skills and women bring more, their own set of skills. Having the combination of both, putting
They
them
complement each other, I would say.
complement each other, I
Yes,
would
they
say. And
complement each other. Yeah,
that's how organization can promote this idea of complementing each other rather than being equal or being competitive with each other. I think that's the
absolutely,
change of narrative
absolutely.
can help people to understand in a more differentiated way. So
Yeah,
thanks for sharing that. You spoke about women leadership. So what are those
yes.
top leadership skills and aspiring women as a professional should focus on developing?
Uh, there are few key leadership skills that I think are particularly crucial for aspiring women professionals. First, I would go for adaptability, to be very honest, specifically in today's fast-paced work environment. See, adaptability, in my opinion, is the ability to pivot and adjust to new situation is crucial, and it's invaluable. Think of it like being a chameleon. I like to use a lot of metaphors, generally speaking, but think of it as or like being a chameleon, able to blend and at the same time to stand out as needed. So for women, for women, this often means balancing different roles and expectation and being adaptable. That will allow her to navigate this with grace and even with confidence. This is to start with. Next, I would go for the effective communication. It's one thing to have great ideas, but it's another to articulate them in a way that resonates with everyone around you. So this isn't about just speaking up, but it's about also listening actively, giving constructive feedback, and building trust through an open and honest dialogue. And if I want also to give a metaphor here, it's like a conductor, or like being a conductor of an orchestra, ensuring every single voice is heard and at the same time valued. Then there is the last skill that I would tend to foster, which is the emotional intelligence. And for me, emotional intelligence, as you know, it's a very dear and close subject to my heart. Emotional intelligence, or EI, is a game changer. Again, it's about being aware of your own emotion and those of others, and using this awareness, or this knowledge, I would say, to manage the interactions around you successfully. If I want to also give a metaphor for this, it's like having an internal GPS, your internal GPS, for navigating all of those complex interpersonal dynamics.
Well, you used the very good term GPS. Everybody's connected to it. When we get
Absolutely.
we jump onto that app and we help ourselves navigate it. But I think this is an internal GPS that everyone must carry within themselves when they find themselves lost into different situations. And this will help them to come back into any situation that they think is out of control. So I would like to wrap up now here after asking you one question, Soha. What are those final thoughts that you want to leave as a message to the aspiring women on this episode today?
For all the aspiring women out there, remember this. Your journey is uniquely yours, but you are not alone on this path. Embrace your strength and even your vulnerability. Vulnerability is not a weakness, in my opinion, it's a strength. They make you who you are: powerful, capable, and even extraordinary. Don't be afraid to take up a space, to raise your voice, to be a leader you were meant to be, and above all, support and uplift each other. And when one woman succeeds, it paves the way for more to follow, right? So keep pushing boundaries, keep shattering ceilings, and keep even being your amazing self. The world needs more of what you have to offer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Soha. I think these are great inspirational words. And it's only us who limit ourselves. It's not anybody else. What you say to yourself is what matters the most. That's what you say. Keep chattering good things about yourself, and you believe in it, and you can definitely do it. So all the women's viewers on today's episode, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope and I wish that you have taken a great insight from Soha today. She's a very successful woman, especially here in the UAE. So do follow her on her Instagram, on her LinkedIn, and multiple social media channels that she has. You will have a lot to take away from her. And I hope you take away these 3 skills: that's emotional intelligence, resilience, and developing communication skill. Yes. So hope you're going to make great out of this rest of the year 2024. And before we meet next year on the next year Women's Day episode, I would like to hear at least a few of the success stories that you took action after getting inspired from what we shared on this episode today. And thank you so much, and have a great year ahead.